Social media blowing up over President Biden's cabinet watching his gaffe. Look at the row of folks, and National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan's one of them there.
Look, I wouldn't have picked Vice President Trump to be vice president, but I think she was not qualified to be president. So let's start there.
So the rest of the cabinet wasn't much better, staring blankly as they watched that slip up. I thought they had some pretty good poker faces.
It wasn't too bad, actually.
I mean, cringing on the inside, but on the outside, they know the cameras are on them, and they just held form.
They're like, oh, it's fine. Everything's fine.
That's right. I got two pair and an ace high, and I'm going with it.
Some of the posts on X. Jake Sullivan doesn't have a good poker face, and I think this was the moment Jake Sullivan died inside.
May have, but again, he did well.
I don't know if you listened to Jamie Harrison of the DNC. He said that Joe Biden gave a master class in press conferences.
I got you.
Okay.
But I think the story from last night is, and I think we can agree on this, the performance was good enough to continue. Because he wants to get to Sunday. Because if he gets to Sunday, the RNC gets going in Milwaukee, and he lives the fight for another
It's the best of all worlds for Trump and the worst of all worlds for the Democrats. There we go.
Okay.
Well, I think, of course, America can't unsee what they saw in the debate, and they can't unsee what they saw in this press conference. And it's certainly there's confusion going on, but the bigger confusion is that he may be confused that he's actually capable of doing the job. But we know that he's surrounded by people that are co-conspirators in this thing.
Republicans ripping President Biden's defiant press conference, but do top Democrats think it helped? CNN reports former President Obama and former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi have spoken privately about Biden's campaign, and those in touch with both reportedly say the end of Biden's candidacy is now a matter of when and not if. But does our next guest agree? Let's bring in Democratic pollster Mark Penn.
Morning.
I was just reading this one piece, and I don't have it for the screen. It's by Mark Antonio Wright at NRO, and he said, if Biden is going to be pushed out, the Dems' knives will have to come out in a way they haven't before. It will need to be very public, very personal, very soon, and very ugly, and that Barack Obama would need to lend his credibility to the effort. And then he says, that's not going to happen. What do you think?
I think that the president has been incredibly clear. I mean, I worked with President Clinton during impeachment, and we laid down we weren't going anywhere. But I find it's a little bit like the Colonel in Dr. Strangelove. He's going ahead, and the party has no choice but to follow him. And if they don't, they look completely divided. And that's where we are now, a completely divided party. That is not going in the same direction that the president and his team are going.
But Mark, at this point, do you think if this stays status quo, Biden's the nominee, Harris is the vice presidential candidate, Trump, and whoever he picks for his VP, all things staying the same, do you think Joe Biden loses on Election Day?
I think Joe Biden is losing today. He's within 2 points, remarkably. I mean, I was against Dole when we were in double digits. Nobody wanted to take Dole out. Remarkably, he's within a striking distance. Yes, does he probably lose? I certainly think so. All my polls show that he's losing, that he went down 4 points. But, you know, Donald Trump has so far successfully stayed under the radar screen. Trump has a way, I always say it's Trump v. Trump, of undoing himself in some way, shape, or form. So is it a foregone conclusion that he absolutely, positively loses? Of course not. There's a lot yet to happen.
Okay, 58 minutes in last night, because it went officially 59 minutes long. This was the question on that very topic.
You earlier explained confidence in your vice president.
Yes.
If your team came back and showed you data that she would fare better against former President Donald Trump, would you reconsider your decision to stay in the race?
No, unless they came back and said, there's no way you can win. Me. No one's saying that. No poll says that. Okay. Thanks.
This ends tonight's press conference.
Okay, and that was that. I really thought the action after that debate 2 weeks was on CNN and the analysis immediately after that 90-minute debate. And I think that's the reason why Joe Biden's up against the ropes today. And if you watched last night, MSNBC was more forgiving, I thought, and CNN less so. What do you think's going on there? What's happening behind the scenes? Who's talking to them, Mark?
Yeah. Yes, you were right, because I, too, went right to MSNBC and CNN to see, well, what do they say about the press conference? And they were saying, not a bad job, right? And so they were coming back around to, maybe we need to support this guy. Maybe he's not going to leave, and maybe we're going to have to give him a little bit of a boost, which is why the media, I think, over there is divided. Look, will Vice President Harris do better? Her poll numbers are slightly below Joe Biden's. Take him out, put her in. I don't actually think it changes, to be honest. People aren't really voting on this. They're voting because inflation is bad, immigration is bad, crime is bad, and they give this administration a low rating. If he had ratings in the 50s, nobody would care what he said anywhere.
Mark, you have a way with words, and we appreciate you being on. Thank you so much. We'll see you soon.
Talk to you soon. Thank you, sir.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.